What's going on out there, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Caveman Mods. I know it's been a while since I put any kind of content out on a big truck, so we're gonna get to some of that today. Actually, we got a drop spring bushing on the rear axle on the passenger side that we're gonna swap out. This is a low air leaf suspension, so if this is something y'all are interested in, please stick around for that. Do me a favor. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. And we're going to jump into this today. It's not going to be a whole long ordeal. I mean, I'm going to throw some time lapses in there and kind of give you guys a rundown on how I go about doing this. And this is for you guys that are trying to work on your own trucks yourself. There's a lot of wind noise out here today, which I got a sock on my mic, so I don't think it will be. But if there is, go ahead and apologize ahead of time. Probably get you guys set up right here on the fender. A white truck right here, because bushing inside of right here is what we're changing today. And see, low air leaf. So what has happened, I'll give you a rundown real fast. So this tire right here is bald on this half. Actually, this side doesn't look quite as bad as the bottom side. Yeah, I mean, that is slick. Not roadworthy. DOT will shut you down in a heartbeat for that. I've also got new shocks I'm gonna put on this sucker. That's part of the reason I believe why it's worn on one spot and not so much up here on this side. But yeah, that is, if you're down to these marks right here, that's the wear mark. DOT will shut you down. So yeah, we're past that. And this tire wasn't, but so what we're gonna do is get this swapped out today. Get the shocks swapped out. Just put these shocks on there about 3 or 4 months ago, maybe 5. I can't remember. Changed this panhard bar not too long ago, and actually last weekend changed the bushing on this side. This bushing, and yeah, for some reason it's just or no, I got that all backwards. This is the one we're changing, and the one on that side is the one I changed last weekend. So yeah, I thought that one was the one that was bad, because that was the tire that was getting eaten up. And yeah, you can see all the fresh grease around this one. So yeah, that one's brand new, but yeah, we're working on that side this weekend. And actually, it's not even the weekend. I'm only used to being home on the weekends. Today's actually Tuesday. But yeah, you see, this is the bushing I changed last week. I also changed my starter. But yeah, so this is the bushing we're going to change today. And normally the way you can tell these are bad is if this bolt right here and this big washer is not centered on this whole drop hanger. Problem is this one is centered. And where I've really got to figuring out why I have a problem is, one, you can see it right here. See how close that leaf spring is to the frame? And you come over to this side, see how far that is from the frame? And like I said, it was wearing on this tire. I couldn't figure out why, so I swapped that bushing, thinking that was the culprit. It was not the case. That one was bad. I'll say that it wasn't centered up in the hole. But one of the ways you could tell is you come down here and look. You see this bolt right here, and you can measure. Actually, the best bet is to measure from the end of this to the end of this part right here, because you want to have the same distance between. You can figure out exactly where you want to measure, because this measurement here is going to be different from this measurement here, because this is going down at an angle. But get a roundabout estimate, you know, figure out exactly where you're going to do it. Maybe go at the top, measure from here to there, and then go on the opposite side. But another way you could do it is just look straight through. You see that bolt right there? That bolt on that side should fall in the same exact place. Also, another way to tell is if you feel up under here behind this piece, feel this piece right here that's obviously rounded to fit this bushing inside. It should be a fairly smooth transition between this piece and this piece. I got grease on my finger. But go back to this side. One, that bolt is nearly not visible from this angle. Two, that piece that goes around, it has a massive lip right here. you guys down here. I don't know if that's easy for you guys to see or not, but there's a big lip right here. And on that side, we didn't have that. So I'm gonna get this blown apart and get this swapped out as fast as we possibly can, guys. So yeah, I guess I'm not gonna be setting you up on that fender over there because we're not working on that side. I'm an idiot. We're gonna work on this side. So maybe I'll get you thrown up on this tire right here and we'll get to figuring some of this stuff out. But I gotta bust out all my tools and we'll get to work on this. So first things first, we'll tell anybody out there who wants to undertake this job, starting out, you better have some big tools, because you got to bust that big sucker right there loose. Of course, I use this right here, the impact I use to take my wheels off and on, and these sockets, which this one right here is a 38. So yeah, this is set from Pittsburgh Tools, whatever they're called. I don't even remember. Harbor Freight Special, Pittsburgh Pro. Yeah. Then you want to make sure you got a porta power, because that's going to come in handy here in a few minutes, because we're going to use at least that piece right there, probably another one, but at least that piece to get up in here and spread apart to make sure that's dropped down where it needs to be. But the way I start this, I'm going to grab a chain and one of these binders. We're going to wrap one around this back axle. We're going to pull this sucker forward, because got to make it as easy as we can. Center this up the best we can to get that sucker to just slide right on out. So I'm going to get that chain real fast, get it on here, and I guess I'll set you all up some sort of time lapse here, and we'll get to doing that real quick here. So I'll get y'all flipped around, get you on this time lapse, and we'll move forward with that. Alright guys, now I did this in a way that made sense to me. You can figure out different ways to do this, but I'll go back to this side. Stuff everywhere now. So wrap the chain, I don't know if you can see it down there, around the axle, come around the axle, around the shackle on this side, the U-bolts, whatever you want to call them, get that chain as far over this way as I possibly can. So I got a straight shot, you can see this, between here and there. That was my objective, to try to get the chain right here to get as much tension towards the outside, because the further outside I am towards the end of the axle, the easier it's going to be for this axle to move forward. Coming to the inside, it's just much harder, fighting against the drive line, all that. So it's easier out here. And again, you guys may find a better way to do this, but this is just what worked for me. Now, you could probably hook it to something up under the frame, you know, cross member or something along those lines, but one, I wanted this right here so I could adjust on it when needed without having to run back and forth. And then two, up here, I could have hooked it to the axle, but I didn't want to do that because then I'm going to be pulling backwards on this axle, putting pressure on this bushing up here. Don't want to do that. So on this frame, really the strongest point is going to be right here, these drop hangers. You know, yes, I could have hooked to a cross member, but again, then I'll be on the inside of the frame and kind of working against myself. It's, in my opinion, it's counterproductive. So I guess I can show you guys here real quick. I'm cranking on this sucker. Well, I ain't got it to a point yet where it's got enough tension on it so I can use this ratchet. It's hard to do with one hand. Let me get enough tension on here and I'll be right back. There we go. All right, guys. So now we got some tension on this here. Remember before we couldn't see this bolt. This bolt was tucked way back in there. So yeah, now you can see the bolt. Yeah, I wasn't able to hold it with both hands because it was just a pain in the butt. But that thing needed to be oiled up, and speaking of which, now it looks all wet. So tell you guys, this right here is going to be your best friend in this scenario. It's called PB Blaster. Pretty sure y'all know what it is, but just in case you didn't. Next thing we're going to do, I got my airline all drug out here now. This is 3/4 inch airline. We're going to hook this up to this big old impact right here, and I'm going to take this Harbor Freight Pittsburgh whatever ratchet here and put it on the bolt on the back side. I'm going to tell you, a lot of people will tell you when doing this, you're going to need to take this bolt out, you're going to need to take these off, you're going to take this U-bolt loose, so this is all movable. You have the means to move the axle, you have the means to move this entire assembly, plus this holds it in place for you. You don't have to take none of this off. At least I haven't had to, and this is the third one I've done. So granted, you know, third time's charm, so maybe something will screw up and I'll have to take that off and look like an idiot, which is fine by me. But from my experience, you don't take none of that loose. We're only taking that one bolt out. So I'm gonna get to this. I'll get this bolt set, or this ratchet set up on here, and the easiest way to do this is to set it up on here and then strap it down. So I could put you on a time lapse, but I'm going to be working in this little bitty area right here, and it's going to be tight. Unless I can find somewhere to set this camera right here. So I don't think I can, but yeah, that ain't going to work. Yeah, I'll get this set up and I'll get right back with you guys and show you what it looks like after I get that ratchet strapped to the frame where it's not going to go anywhere. Because you got to have 4 hands to do this, at least 2 people. I don't, so I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here in a second. All right, I know it looks like a mess, but you go down around the back of the ratchet, okay? Come around the ratchet from this side. You see, well, actually, it goes around the ratchet this way. You can't see it. It comes up over here, goes back over here and attaches here. And then the one that's coming from this way, we go around up and through this, but then this ratchet comes around the back side of this drop hanger and connects right there. And what that does is it just pulls the ratchet into this whole ordeal where I can pull this bolt out. Granted, that wasn't supposed to be there. Well, that sucks. Let me loosen this up and move this up just a hair. Alright, now we got that done. It's up and out of the way. Got it up over top of that, so when I pull this out, this whole washer is going to come out. And I'd like to get y'all set up on a time lapse here. So that ratchet, whenever I start backing this off, it's going to clonk down into the ground right there. Which I'd like to put a piece of rubber down there to kind of protect my driveway. But ow, I don't believe I got one right at the moment. I'll find something to put up under that. But yeah, just grab something. I got this whole pile of metal right here and scrap. I got to throw all this stuff back away. Yeah, I got to go to the scrap yard, toss all this stuff. You know what? This piece of wood right here will work. Little tiny piece of wood. That'd be just fine. Y'all look at that pretty thing. That's been fun. Been a heck of a work in progress. You can set this under there and kind of judge about where it's going to land, but well, that ought to work. Got to keep it out of the concrete on the driveway. See what I can figure out here to get you guys set up on a time lapse, and we're gonna start taking this sucker apart. Now I will say getting that out of there is not easy, but we'll get to that in a moment. Son of a biscuit. Apparently that old Pittsburgh cheap Harbor Freight crap just can't stand up to an impact wrench, and I expected nothing less. So, probably stripped the teeth out on that socket wrench back here. Which, to be honest with you, ever since I got it, didn't quite work right anyways. So, that being said, we'll move on to this one. Ain't no ratcheting mechanism in this. So, I'll get that swapped out and we'll get back to this here in just a second. Well, guys, I will say that this sucker right here is being stubborn as all get out. It don't want to come off her. And, the way we got this other one on here, the other breaker bar there. We got it ran up there. You can see it right there. Got a ratchet strap around it, going around that drop hanger, pulling it into it. And then got this strap wrapped around it again, pulling it back this way to kind of keep it centered up. Because when you want to pull it that way, it just wants to kind of go at an angle, pull all back that way. So, yeah. It ain't working. We're gonna give it one more shot, and I'll say that if it doesn't work this go around, then we're gonna break out the old blowtorch and cut it off with fire. So if you guys want to see that, stick around, drop a comment down below, let me know if that's something y'all want to see, me play with a little bit of fire. But yeah, we're gonna get to that. I gotta let this compressor pump back up. I actually ran the bolt back in a little bit where I can get I guess a little bit of a head start. That way it's not up against the spot where it's gonna keep it locked up. But when we got it broke loose enough to where we could probably get in there, honestly, I'd probably get it with a Sawzall at this point. But fire is just a little bit more fun, so I guess we'll play with some fire here in a little bit if we can't get it this way. But I'll get back with you guys here in a few moments and let you see where I end up. Well, guys, that last go around we got a couple turns out of it, but unfortunately my ratchet strap broke. Was kind of expecting that. So I went to bust out the old fire make it happener over here. Well, these spams are calling me. Got the old torch set up right there, and got my oxygen acetylene right here. I've had this tank for well over a year, and I have yet to use it, not one time. I bought it for something, and I don't remember what it was, but I was able to fix the issue I was having without using this, so I've never used this. Got it all hooked up, set up, turn it on, completely out of oxygen. Go figure. Didn't know you could run out of oxygen without using it. So plan B. I don't have time to unstrap all this and go up to Royal King, grab a new tank today, so we're going to use the old Sawzall with a metal blade on it, and we're just going to cut it off. I ain't got time for all this crap, man. I got stuff to do, and I need to get this done today, so I ain't got time to play around. So I'm gonna get this cut off and I'll get back with you. Alright guys, so with a ton of persistence and a lot of cutting and wearing out my arms with that dang Sawzall, that was a pain in the butt. Went through a bunch of blades also because I ain't got no new blades. Go figure. All the blades I have are older than crap and some of them are slightly rusty, but I got it cut through that far, except that last little bit. This sucker's hot. And yeah, that last little bit, I said the heck with it. And got my ratchet, or the breaker bar, back on the back side of it and ran the impact on it and it just snapped right off. So thankfully, after a ton of fighting with this sucker, got that back on there. I got that back off of there. So now the fun part, we got to get this sucker out, which that was easy. Since I got this centered up in the hole, it just slides right out. You know, if you don't center it up in the hole as best you can, then you're gonna have to sit here and beat this sucker out of there, and that's not easy. So we're gonna use that bolt right there to drive this center pin out of here, because this metal sleeve needs to come out. Once that sleeve comes out, I can get these bushings out of here. Once I get that done, we're good to slide the new stuff in. And once we get to that point, you know, of course, we're going to grease everything up substantially before we get to that point, but I'll get to knocking that center pin out and we'll pull them rubber bushings out. So I'll get y'all on another time lapse and we'll get a move on with this, because I'm running out of daylight, I guess. This tripod I'm dealing with is just a pain in my butt. I need to find my old one. It's been a while. I actually lost my GoPro for a little bit, but besides the point. Another thing I was going to tell y'all real quick. So getting these out of here are a pain in the butt, but it's going to benefit you to take both of these out on both sides before you try to get that pin out, because these kind of lock it in place and make it a pain in the butt to get out. Take a regular old hammer here and slowly work your way around. It's not the best way to do it, but it works. Another thing is, if you have a pickling fork, this helps also, because it makes it just a little easier to get in there in some places. Granted, it's not the right tool, but it works. There you go. That one's out. It just makes it easier. See how, look how oblong that bushing looks. That sucker wore out, buddy. So I'm gonna get up under the truck and get the one out on the backside. And from there, we're gonna knock that pin out from the backside. We're gonna knock it out this way. And I'll try to get y'all set up here on a time lapse. But like I said, this whole GoPro mount right here just not working with me so well. So I'll see what I can do, guys. Sorry for all the camera movement. Another tip for you guys. So if that thing wants to be a pain in the butt and don't want to come out too easily, I'm going to use a drill. Noted this drill's a piece of crap. Doesn't work too well, but I will say that drilling on rubber just ain't going to hurt it now. Yeah, you see? Chuck don't tighten. And what that does, that just breaks it free all the way around, where it make it easier to knock through. So we're gonna make another attempt to knock this through here. See what happens. We're getting it, guys. Finally. Not the easiest thing to work with, but it's working. I will say in the midst of all this, y'all know what the thing is, at least I did. Not good, can't organize. Need to get y'all picked up and out of my way, because I need to step in right here. And I ain't got nowhere to put this camera, so I'll get back with you guys in a minute. Alright guys, I got grease all over me. I'm a mess. This is what we're working with. I'll take these bushings right here, where it's hard to see on this one now that I done tore it up a good bit, but it was oblong. If I put it back, you can see it's kind of stretched, but it's hard to really show you because I cut it all up. Granted, I mean, you can see this indention right here. This is not from me. This indention is from something on the inside of there. But yeah, this sucker was tore up pretty good. So, and actually you could see right there the way it was sitting in there. Yeah, it was crooked. Meaning the whole leaf springs assembly was crooked. So yeah. We're gonna get this fixed up. Now the way I get these out, which is a pain in the butt, but you take your Sawzall, run your line straight down the center of it, on both of them, obviously. You don't want to go all the way through because you don't want to dig into the housing that these sit in. But once you get that kind of cut all the way through, use your pickling fork or screwdriver or something, pry up on it in the center. So you cut your line, stick your screwdriver or whatever under it, and just pry upward, and it'll rip the rest of the way and pop up there like that. And just pull it right on out. So, got this out. I'm gonna go grab me an AC. I got it pulled forward, right about where it needs to be. Now what I'm gonna do here, you see it's not centered, but this is what this is for. So, you take this sucker right here, which I'm about to do here in a second. Normally I will say that when I've done this, I have pulled this bolt out right here. This is my first attempt to do this with leaving that bolt in. But the only reason I pull that particular bolt out is because I put this in here. I'm going to attempt to do it with leaving the bolt there this go around. But I set that there, and this will move that downward. So I'll go ahead and get this set up really quick. And then I got to get a drill with a wire brush set up on it, because I'm going to clean the inside of that out, grease it up really good, and then we'll go ahead and slap this back together. So I'll get you set up real quick, and we'll get this going. Alright, you see we got this in here. It's kind of like a wedge, and it centers that sucker straight up, buddy. I haven't put no more tension on this right here, nothing. So that's right where it's supposed to be. I'll get y'all on a time lapse. I'm going to get that cleaned up a little bit inside there, and then we're going to begin to grease the crap out of it and slap this sucker back together. Alright, so my objective was not to try to make that thing flawless. It's just kind of get any built up rubber, anything like that out of there. So I'm not fighting this thing trying to put it back together. Give you guys a little look in there, and you can see right here that little line. I guess I kind of cut into that center section just a little bit, which ain't gonna hurt nothing. That'll just give it a little spot for grease to build up, I guess. But yeah, I did that whenever I was cutting my line straight across. But it ain't gonna hurt nothing. The whole objective is just to keep this thing centered up in there. So I'm gonna go grab a tube of grease, and you guys can see in there it's fairly clean now. I got all the rubber that was built up in there out, but we'll get this sucker packed full of grease, ow, and get this new assembly, which I have right here, sitting on the front of this beautiful machine. Get this whole new assembly ready to go in. Hopefully, so I got all the new parts right here. Hopefully, once I get this in, it centers that axle back up. And I will say, like I said, tomorrow I'm going out to Camden to my business partner's shop. Yeah, we have a shop. I decided to use my own garage right here because I like being at home. If I'm over there, I'm an hour and a half away. But anyways, I digress. So I'm going to go over there tomorrow. We're putting all new 8 drive tires on this. And that's going to leave me 7 of these tires as good spares. These are 24.5s. Don't mind the grease on my hat. These are 24.5s. And having a really tough time finding tires, so I got 4 of them that are in really great shape, and the other 3 are in fairly good shape. So I'm going to keep these as spares, and when it boils down to it, when I'm ready to get this one on the road, the remaining tires I have left, I will probably end up slapping on that. Granted, the rims are 22.5s on the rear. These are 24.5s, like I just said. I'll probably just buy new rims for that because I don't like the rims that are on it anyways. Plus they're all pitted, nasty looking, and yeah, we'll just go from there. But anyways, that's beside the point. Need to get to knocking this out. So go grab a tube of grease and I'll be right back. Actually, I'll just bring y'all along with me. Garage is a mess, guys. Especially when I'm working on stuff. Man, I ain't got all the time in the world to try to keep this thing together to the best of my abilities anyways. Hey, in case you noticed, the fuel cell's not sitting up here any longer. It's in the trunk. I got the lid back on, everything. Jeez. This wood right here, it's in my way. This is 1/4 inch birch. I'm gonna take and wrap this stuff in gray leather. That's what's going up on the walls in the white Peterbilt there. That's why that's in here. I don't care about fingerprints on it because I'm not going to stain it. None of that stuff. It's just going to get all covered up. So I'm going to get this set up, get everything greased up. I don't want to be touching the camera. I'm going to have grease all over my hands. Plus now I got to change my glove. So I'll get this set up. This all slides in, guys. There's nothing to it. You know, you grease the crap out of this. Okay. Me personally, I like to pack grease right here in the section where there's a gap between this and this. I like greasing the heck out of that. Because when you put it all together, you know, it squeezes everything. Of course, grease comes out and goes everywhere, but what that does for me is gives me a peace of mind that everything is lubed up very well and you're not going to be tearing these bushings up. So, grease that. Then grease the bushings individually on the outside, put it in, then I grease the inside of the bushings, so this slides in with ease, and then it just all goes right back together fairly easily. So I'm going to get the grease and all this up, and I guess I'll kind of get you guys on a bit of a time lapse here. So just hold tight. There you have it. That's basically it. So I got all that grease squeezing out on both sides. I will say that I don't think that's completely fixed my problem, because spring is still over here by the axle. Something's got this axle shifted. It ain't this. Like I said, that's brand new. Both bushings in the back now are brand new. And another thing I'll say is, you down here, look, that bag is kicked that way, and that bag is kicked that way. This axle's out of alignment, big time. Luckily, after I get this sucker to my partner's shop, we're gonna put new tires on it, like I said. Then from there, on the best one tire, and we're gonna get these tires, or get the axles aligned. And I'm praying to God that I don't have to start replacing parts on this here assembly, because that ain't gonna be pretty. So, with that being said, guys, my main objective was to show you guys how to change that without having to remove all those bolts. So long as you got all these tools, it can be done. I will say that thing kind of whooped my butt. It was a pain in the neck right there, but we got it done, thankfully. I'm gonna get this mess cleaned up. Appreciate you guys for sticking around. Apologize for all the time lapse that's gonna be in this video, but that's gonna be a wrap for this one, guys. If you enjoyed that, please give me a follow, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Hit that bell notification so you can be notified when I put up a new video. And I think that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thanks for sticking around. See you on the next one. God bless you.